I wonder if going back to, I guess, the parameters of what is considered defamation, what isn't, and who can and who can't, which to me, this is one of the worst aspects of society. I mean, again, I mean, I can't think of all of the scenarios. Like you just laid out a really great one about the police and investigating, and so somebody can say something because you don't really want to have a chilling effect on an investigation when it comes to law enforcement, right? So you want people to be able to say whatever without them being sued. So there's that protection there. So I can't think of all of the nuances. I can't think of all the scenarios, but there's got to be a way to protect free speech while still holding people accountable for blanket labeling of people, even famous
Yes.
people, even Donald Trump, calling him a racist or a bigot. I think there's got to be some way to change because this is so harmful and it's become so much more outrageous. This is happening it's happening so much more often, and there's so many real clear um, consequences on people to have these things happen to them, that there's just got to be a way to re-gear what defamation is. Libel, slander, defamation, all of these things have to be, I think, rethought. And like you said, the law doesn't move as fast as society does, but society has moved very quickly on this and has weaponized it. This isn't just a person's,
Right.
nonchalant opinion. They're weaponizing these things. And they've been
Correct.
successfully weaponizing. But one thing that I would say, so I don't know all of the nuances of how we make change on what is considered defamation, but I will say that there should be some other sort of aspect brought into this case of defamation league, like what you just mentioned. They are not just an organization, like a free speech organization that has their lists and they're allowed to put people on lists however they want. They are giving information to the government. They are advising the
Yes.
government. They're way beyond
Correct.
just a tabloid, like, because it almost seems like the protection that they're receiving is similar to like what a tabloid receives. But this is not a tabloid. This is way beyond a
You know what?
tabloid. They are actually
Yeah.
in a position of power that has real, genuine consequences for people. So there's got to be, I think, more consequences put on them. And it's got to go beyond defamation. I don't know, or defamation has to be regeared, the definition of it or the legal parameters around it. Something has to be regeared because these people are in a position of power and they're ruining lives. And
Well, I
by going to
agree,
the
but
law.
right. Let's say our friend Elon. Say Elon wants to start going after everybody who calls him a racist. Um, what does he have to prove? He has to prove the person that's doing this, that's saying this, is doing so with malice, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean that they know it's not true. They have to be. They just don't care if it's true. Yeah, so they're
Right.
just going to say to him, Elon could do that. He could just do it, but he would allege that there's no basis for this. They have no knowledge of this, and they're going to have to come forward with an answer that says, "Yes, I said this, and I believe it." And you believe it? Why? And you have to explain it. Um, and then they have to hire an attorney, and they have to provide a response. Which, in Elon's attorney, he has a phalanx of attorneys too, so he could go to war with everybody who has said that. And to use that to a smaller degree, um, I was representing a person accused of racist tweets. We later found out, we knew it actually when we took the case, as a Jesse Smollett situation. The person made it all up, and we could show that. We had a police report. She sent these emails to herself. Um, but I got 2,500 one-star reviews in 3 days. 2,500 one-star reviews in 3 days. Everybody's crying. Everybody's horrible. So what can I do? Can I sue somebody for a one-star review without any commentary? Is that actionable? That's the real question that small businesses have to face all the time. Elon really, I mean, we could talk about, maybe that's just too close to Kim's personal world, that she has to worry about perhaps being defamed, right? But at least you have a way of coming back where you can say, and you can sue them. You can sue them, absolutely. The truth is a defense, but it doesn't mean you don't have to. You don't get sued. You still get sued. So you can sue them, and you can say you're saying this maliciously, and you
Right.
can just say
I
I
just
believe it.
think, okay, but we do have like carve outs that are exceptions, like for a boxer, let's say. If a boxer hits somebody at a bar, they are
Right.
often held more liable, like they could be charged with a more severe crime for hitting somebody at a bar than just me hitting somebody at a bar. I might punch somebody in the face, the boxer punches somebody in the face. We get charged with two different crimes, right?
Right.
Because I'm not a boxer and they are. So why can't that same sort of idea be placed on an organization like the ADL? Maybe not on your average Twitter user, but when you're in a position of power, when you've got and you know you can do harm, you know your organization, when you stick somebody like John on a list, you know that's going to cause harm to them. You know that's going to be damaging. Just like as a boxer, if you hit somebody
Sure.
in the face, you might kill him, right? I mean, so why isn't it more severe or for organizations like the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, or even just newspapers when they say
Well,
things that
these things
are
should be
like
done.
this?
Precedent needs to be set.
Well,
And
but the
you know,
courts will say, look, we've been using this precedent a long time. Legislatures know we're using this if they want to change it. The anti-SLAPP laws were on the one side, right? As you pointed out, that just protects one side. What you're talking about is what do we do? We can have this carve out. We could say, look, if you're listing people in a catalog of evil people,
Right,
then there should be some standard that you have to meet, or you have to provide for a way for them to get off of your list, or something
right.
like that. You could do something like that. That would, but all of these free speech things they're really tricky. I mean, we've covered what a dozen scenarios just out of imagination and case law that I've been working on for the last 30 minutes, right? And this is just a dozen. You can do as many as you want. Um, it is really hard to write laws, write good laws, even the anti-SLAPP. Let's take that just for a minute because we all know what we're talking about. And so the land developer sues all the people that are signing a petition to stop him because they say he's a bad developer. They file an anti-SLAPP motion to dismiss. That's what that's designed for. Well, it used to be, and it's taken a few years to get there. When it first came out, you had to really show that you could win at summary judgment in order to continue with your case. And then it changed back, and now it's kind of reverberated. And now today, I have to show to survive an anti-SLAPP motion to dismiss. I have to show enough evidence that I've got a case. I don't have to meet summary judgment. I have to show a prima facie case, which means that it's enough for somebody to look at it and say, yeah, you've got a case. It doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean you're going to, or anything else, but it just means that you're going to survive a motion to dismiss. And so we do make these changes over time, and we could make a change that says if you're going to list an individual on your website for a reason, then you can't provide their addresses. We have anti-dox, but right now, and every state's doing this a little bit different. In Texas, if you impersonate somebody online, and then the attorney general can do something about it, but a normal person can't. They can sue them for defamation if it's defamatory, but they can't sue them for online impersonation. It's in Texas law, but it's only something law enforcement can do. You go to Oklahoma, the AG doesn't care, the attorney general doesn't care, but you can sue them as a private individual. So here's two different states, and what's going to happen over time is that people will learn what things work best and they will adjust their laws. I fully expect us to have an online impersonation private right of action so that John can do that. If somebody wanted to say, I'm QAnonJohn.com and start spouting anti-Semitic nonsense. Oh my, what a mess that would be, right? Because now
Right.
ADL points to that, you see, and so now John's going, okay, I've got to defend myself from the online impersonator, and I've got to, and ADL is going to use that and say, see, we had reasonable belief. These things happen, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a nobody will post a defamatory statement, and then a somebody will repost that, and the question is, how culpable should be the reposter be?
Right.
Things aren't easy.
Yeah, I
Fingers are
mean,
not.
and it's not easy because we don't want to want to, go after free speech. And we're seeing kind of this dystopian type stuff happening in Europe, for example, in the UK, where somebody will post something on social media and somebody will repost it, and then they get a visit from the police, and they're questioned at their homes. And we're seeing those types of things, and we don't want that to happen. But at the same time, we want organizations like the ADL and others to be held accountable for smearing and defaming. And I believe they are doing it knowingly. And it doesn't matter if it's their opinion. Once you're in a position of power like the ADL, it shouldn't be a matter of your opinion. You would have to
Right.
show for real, especially when you're talking to law enforcement and guiding politicians and having those types of conversations all the time, and they're listening to you, you're in a real position of power. I mean, I just think somehow, so you're saying, Warren, that has to be done on the legislature, on a legislative level, like we have to rewrite law.
Right. That's the way. That's the way to fix. That's the way it gets fixed. If you're waiting for the courts to fix this, I had in my moments, in great moments of my life, I had the opportunity to have dinner with Justice Scalia. This
Oh,
was
wow.
during law school. It was just one of my favorite moments in life, right?
That's awesome.
And he made the comment that everybody expects me and Thomas to fix every problem, but the fact is, before it gets to us, it goes through a state legislature or a state court, and then it goes to a Congress, and it goes to a number of courts. It goes through 1,000 different people before it gets to me. But everybody expects me and Thomas to fix every problem. We just can't do
Yeah.
that. And
Right.
it was a epiphanal moment for me to go, yeah, you're right. We're putting all of our hopes and dreams in a Supreme Court. We have a lot of control over a lot of things long before it gets to the Supreme Court. We can't
Yeah.
rely on the Supreme Court to rescue us. But
Because
there's
all they're
another issue.
doing is interpreting, right? They're just taking the law and saying, "Oh, well, this is what the law means," right? I mean, they're not able to create the new law. I mean, but precedent gets set by courts all the time. So, what is the difference between between a precedent being set now by a court and them just saying, "Well, I'm just interpreting the law"?
Well, we have common law, right? So even though we separated from our friends across the pond some time ago, we stand on their shoulders judicially. We talk about district courts. That comes from the English. We talk about the common law. The common law is what
Mhm.
everybody knows is right and wrong, developed
Right.
by England 800 years ago. Yeah, one of the founding documents of the United States that we hold on to was the Magna Carta, 1215, England. So we do these things, and the courts are slow to act because they don't always take into account what's going on, and they can't. And when they get it wrong, when they try to get ahead of the game, people will always point to the laws that prevent people from different skin colors from getting married, and the Supreme Court
Oh,
overturned
right.
that law. Right. But the fact is, the states were all overturning those rules too at the time. And so the Supreme Court then says, see, we're doing the right thing because we're getting ahead of culture. But then you get somebody like Justice Kennedy, who was effectively our Ayatollah for decades on the Supreme Court, saying, well, I'm going to decide what's right and wrong because I'm the fifth vote. And so, and he was horrible. He was just horrible. So he says, well, we're going to, and people like Roe v. Wade. Okay, so Roe v. Wade was overturning a bunch of state laws. And
Mhm.
Ginsburg said it was a horribly written opinion. Ginsburg said that because it shouldn't have been a federal lawsuit. It's abortion is a state issue, is a state issue, is a state issue. But you have to have a Supreme Court that's willing to set aside its personal beliefs and say, the Constitution doesn't talk about abortion. The 10th Amendment talks about what the rights that or the powers that the state has. The Ninth Amendment says that if we don't talk about it, it belongs to the people. So this is
Right.
they would have been more honest if they had written a Ninth Amendment opinion supporting abortion. That would at least been defensible. But that's where the nature of the Supreme Court is. But if Texas or some other state wanted to say, in Texas, if you defame somebody or if you dox somebody's address for the purpose of doing them harm, then we are going to assert that is that's going to be actionable as a
Right.
defamatory act. We could do that. So I, as a plumber, Joe's Plumbing, I'm at this site. I've got this office. Come see me anytime. and then my friend shares, Joe, some friend shares Joe's address because somebody needs plumbing, not actionable. But then ADL comes by and says, that's where that guy lives, and he's a supporter of Trump, therefore he must be an anti-Semite. Here he is. We're going to put him on our list of evil plumbers. That should be actionable. Well, I did the same thing that your friend did, but you did it to harm me. You did it to tell all of your people where to call and to make my life horrible.
It's like they call it unmasking. It's the same exact thing. You know, it doesn't matter if you put their address. You put someone's name, you could easily find their address, find their phone number.
Yeah, but whenever you tweet it out, and it gets sent, 20,000 times.
Oh yeah,
that it's different from them having to work. Make them work.
Oh yeah.
So
no, for sure,
it cuts down a lot. So,
but
yeah.
Yeah, it's complicated. I understand it's complicated, but it is just also this is, I mean, good luck to you both on this case. I hope you win, because I do despise these organizations that they, like you said in the very beginning of this, their whole purpose is, ironically, to defame people. By claiming that they're the Anti-Defamation League. Their whole purpose is to create a list, and that list is meant to ruin the lives of these people. That's the purpose of the list. It's, here's the list of bad people. Don't do business with them. Don't employ them. Don't date them. Don't all of these things.
Don't let them use PayPal. Don't let them use GovSendGo. Don't let them use any of those things.
And all of that has happened to me. I've been canceled from PayPal, Stripe, Square, Cash App. Our banks randomly canceled us when we were living in California. Like our actual Union Bank canceled us. So this is far-reaching. And the fact that they put my name at the top of a Google search, when you type in John Sable, I don't know if it's still like that. You type in John Sable, it goes glossary of extremism and hate. I mean, I'll never be able to work anywhere ever again. And that is,
it's up there. It's I just Googled your name, and it is right there. I mean, it's not at the very top, but it's the fourth on the list. Your lawsuit actually is right above it, so that's good.
Wow.
At least in my
that's what we're talking about.
That's awesome.
And then there's
at the very top.
I will say, Kim, if somebody wants, go ahead. If somebody wants to help,
I just want to say one thing here, real quick. Above your Sable versus Anti-Defamation League lawsuit that's in casetext.com, right above that, though, this is the second thing on the list. Texas judge allows alleged QAnon libel lawsuit to go forward. So that's like almost a defaming headline about. So, I mean, just. But
though, because it's mentioned,
right when they say alleged,
Kim, I will point out that if somebody feels so inclined to help the lawsuit, we have Nord Law maintains a 501c3 for White Hat Law, and it's for a fund. It's 501c3. You can get donations, and they go to our website, and they can pay to White Hat Law. Make sure they put John Sable on the memo, and they can help that out if they want to.
Okay.
Get to the website.
Yeah, we will have that link down below. But best of luck to you on this. I'm glad that you guys are taking this on, and surprised that this hasn't been taken on since the 90s. I mean, it just seems like an organization like the ADL should be sued all the time for defaming people, and. But as you expressed during this whole show, it's difficult to go after people for these types of things. And but you guys are doing it, going forward, and hopefully it continues, and hopefully you get a good outcome. So thank you both for being on and explaining this. It's definitely helpful, although slightly disheartening. But I'm hoping that I'm hopeful for you guys.
I mean, we survived dismissal.
No,
this is all good.
Yes, you did.
This is good. Yeah.
This is good. Yes, this is good. Yes. All in all, just the whole defamation thing is slightly disheartening. But the fact that your case is going forward and that you're able to do this, hopefully, like I said, hopefully this paves the way for others to be able to do this as well, because this is just such an abhorrent practice in my mind, putting these lists together, doxing people, unmasking, whatever they want to call it, all with the intent to just harm that person in a variety of ways. It's just a despicable It's
No
it's
other
just a
reason.
genuinely despicable thing to be doing. A business, a despicable business, quite honestly. So thank you again, both, for being here. And we do have the links down below to everything, to the Patriot Voice, also to your law firm, and also to this case in particular, the White Hat Law for donations for people. So thank you both again.
Kim, thank you
Kim.
so much for
So
having us
helpful.
on. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show. If you want to watch the full show, visit KimIversonShow.com. The show airs every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's KimIversonShow.com. See you then.